welcome to podcast. I haven't actually decided on the name yet, but today we have Agamatsu. Before we start, I want to announce a giveaway of the Heroism Revolver. The only requirement is to check out Agamatsu's channel and subscribe if you aren't already, and join the Discord server in the description.
Hey, join the Discord, bro.
So let's start off with how you doing, Agamatsu? How's your life been?
Yeah, I'm doing good, bro. Glad to be here. Glad you're interviewing me. I like doing these. So, what's up?
I'm good. I want to ask you. Actually, now let's get into the depths of the interview. What do you think of the current state of Deepwoken?
Current state of Deepwoken, just a little bit dry at the moment. Of course, there's always gonna be people complaining that there's nothing to do, but at the same time, right? Like, give any player like hundreds of hours on a game, and they might eventually get bored of the content. We'll be eating good once Layer 2 drops. That's all I really have to say about that.
Speaking of Layer 2, just to confirm, you aren't actually a tester for Layer 2, correct?
No.
Okay, I'm saying this because I actually heard this on a Nano's stream. He mentioned how you weren't a tester. Well, are you a balancer in any way?
I mean, yeah, I like to test things out, especially some of the stuff for Layer 2. I'm trying to make sure it's decently balanced. But at the same time, though, I'm also a firm believer in fucking overpowered shit being fun as hell. But of course, I'm trying to point out some of the weird things that you can kind of do with some of the Layer 2 stuff. But you can also kind of do it in the main game anyway. But yeah, for the most part, I try and help balance things out and point out bugs.
Are you not a tester because Arch didn't let you be, or because it's your choice?
Oh, well, I mean, if it was my choice, I'd be playing Layer 2 and testing it out. I think what I come down to or inferred from information I gathered is that I'm I'm a YouTuber and they kind of want me to have fresh eyes on Layer 2, which, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I get that, you know what I'm saying? And also, I guess it would help because I'd be able to make more, actual genuine content reacting to Layer 2 or playing Layer 2 instead of just being like, oh my goodness, and having to fake a reaction. So, hey, I mean, that's also helpful. So, hey, maybe they're looking out for the channel,
I see. But being a balancer, wouldn't you still have sneak peeks of things of Layer 2?
Well, of course, right? I can't just literally go in blind. People are gonna be talking about it and whatnot. But I mean, for the most part, I can avoid all the main things that are actually, kind of leaks or whatnot.
I see. Is this the case for all the YouTuber testers, or is it only for you and Nano?
I don't know. Did Nano say he couldn't play either?
No, Nano said he didn't want to be a tester. He wants to have a fresh view, like you said.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's everybody except me. But if Nano doesn't want to either, shit, I don't blame him.
I actually had to look through your YouTube statistics, and majority of your popular videos are actually solo progression videos. Do you plan on recording more, or even do a progression with other Deepwoken YouTubers anytime soon?
Yeah, sure. I know a lot of people enjoy my solo progressions a lot. It's just the issue is that with the new progression of Layer 2, it just feels a lot better than the current progression. Archmage even talks about a little bit of what kind of happens, but for the most part, it's just a lot better, in my opinion. So I would prefer to wait till it's a lot more of an enjoyable experience, because I feel it'd also be a lot more of an enjoyable video instead of me doing the same thing. I'm gonna go to the depths, fight the same damn Sharko again, fight the same damn lionfish again. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I see. So you're saying that progression in the Layer 2 is better than Layer 1?
Ask that again.
The progression in Layer 2 is more fun than Layer 1?
Well, I don't mean Layer 1 as in literally Layer 1. I mean the update, the progression, the new update than current Deepwoken.
I see. Actually, I had a question. I heard of this before, I'm not sure from who, but apparently the Layer 1 and Layer 2, etc. concept was taken from an anime called Made in Abyss.
I mean, I think it was inspired.
Oh yeah, inspired, my bad. So do you think that it's going to be more layers in the future?
If Layer 2 does well, yeah. If Layer 2 doesn't do well, then no, probably not. Layer 2 might be the last. But I think a lot of people will really enjoy it, especially because the progression is just a lot. I think the progression will really add on to it, man. That's the thing. It would just really add on to the experience as a whole, and people be like, yo, whenever you're telling people that update is gonna be like, yo, they also removed luck and made progression way better, bro. People are gonna be like, oh shoot, really? Because I think a lot of people really didn't fuck with Deepwoken's progression because how long it may have taken some people, like more casual players, may have taken them many hours to, progress the build, and they end up getting like strong lefted into the void by a freshie. That can be a very like, I'm done with this shit type of experience. So I think if you kind of introduce or tell your friends like, yo, like, dude, progression is like a lot faster, it's like a lot better in my opinion. And dude, like they removed luck, man, no more BS. It might also help on to the fact that, there's also a bunch of new content as well.
Alright, true. Actually, I watched Made of the Abyss, like the first season when it came out, and the way it works, once you go from like layer one, for example, layer two, you're still the same person. Is it the same way in Deepwoken? Can you at least like give us that information?
I mean, whenever you leave layer one, there's like no curse. I don't know if they're ever gonna do some shit like that. I wouldn't know. Like played layer two.
I see. Do we expect a new level cap then?
Argument already talked about it. You can look in like the Deepwoken information, the little stuff dev said category. He's talked about it before about like the level cap. Like was it like power 20? Right? Yeah. You can look through that stuff and see what he said on that.
For the people who aren't in the Discord server, I think I'll link in the description. Pretty much go to what is it? Dev said. That's the channel you're talking about, right? Right, that's the channel we're talking about. Alright.
Yeah, it's in the. It'll be again in the Deepwoken information Discord. It's like one of the first channels you'll see.
Speaking of layer 2 again, what do you expect to be the biggest problems players will face with the release of layer 2?
Maybe the difficulty.
So you don't think the combat change that they mentioned in your Q&A is going to be a problem?
For high ping players, I don't like the new combat as much as old combat, because what I could do in the old combat is like I could hold F and block and then parry afterwards, right? Now I can't do that because whenever I hold block, there's like a 1.5 second cooldown on my next parry, so I have to like eat hits because I can't like parry accurately in higher ping, so it's really fucking annoying. So yeah, I don't really like the new combat in high ping, and that's usually what I play on, so I just don't like the new combat.
I see. Now before I move to a different topic, I actually want to just mention this question out of curiosity. It might be a bit what do you think of weaponry? Like, what's your favorite weaponry out of like light, medium, and heavy?
I like the rapier the most.
So you're more into light weapons then?
Not really, I just like the rapier because it's a lot easier to use in higher ping, and I like the critical a lot. I don't really like using daggers and fist on high ping. The range is too little, but I think rapier has like that perfect balance of everything you need.
Do you think heavy weapons are still underestimated as they were before?
You can do good work with heavy weapons, but like there are a lot of people who can like abuse heavy weapons pretty easily, so it's a lot more difficult of a fight if you have like a really good light weapon player and a really good heavy weapons player, I'd say.
I see. In your own words, can you compare Rogue to Deep, like what system aside, and do you think Rogue would be better if devs continued on developing it than moving on to...
Like, comparing what systems exactly, like wiping or like lives or whatnot?
The game in general, like the progression, I should say.
Oh, the progression? I feel like there's some people who like kind of dumb it down to like, oh, you do one mundane task and then you do another mundane task and then you get your maxed out build, but I do think there is a quite big amount of differences, whereas Deepwoken, you can kind of do everything PvE or PvP technically. Rogue Legions, you kind of had other people or at least other accounts to actually progress, right? So if you were playing by yourself, you couldn't do anything except maybe like do the quests and look for trinkets and whatnot, and that was kind of a really boring experience. Or I feel like now you can just kind of have a good like flow of gameplay in Deepwoken. You can just keep on like leveling up, and they made luck like not much of an issue anymore to get anymore. So even then, it's just a lot more consistent gameplay of just not having to really stop and do stuff like how in Rogue, like every time you wanted to at least get like one of your skills, you had to stop and go look for trinkets. But the thing about Rogue is that you could get boosted in like literally like an hour to any class. So I mean, I will kind of miss that because I do not like the time it takes sometimes to progress in Deepwoken. So I'll say Rogue was better because you could boost. That's just my personal bias. I just like being boosted and getting to the end game. Whereas Deepwoken's better for the whole experience and progression and all that shit.
So Rogue was like, I'm gonna do this, and then when I do that, I'm gonna have my expelled. While Deep was like, I'm just gonna enjoy life until I get to the final point, right?
I mean, it was like that. Now Deepwoken's like, yo, like I'm just progressing so I can get my build done.
I see. And do you think Rogue would be better of a game if like the developers continued on it than or the rather than moving it to Deep?
No, I don't think so.
So you think the last
Just
update,
not.
which was K, was like the final point?
Right, yeah. Still, I just thought it would be a better game. Just looking at like the base, if they really wanted to stop and fix everything, maybe introduce PvE and whatnot. Sure, you can maybe make the argument that like they could have made it like better, but like again, that would be fucking with like Rogue's image, or like how Rogue is as a whole. Like they would patch a lot of things that Rogue players do today, like move stacking and whatnot, which would have ruined what Rogue kind of is right now or was after K. So I still think Deepwoken would just be it would just been much better to stick with Deepwoken. I would not want to keep playing Rogue truthfully.
Speaking of Rogue and Deep, what do you think of the exploiter situation with them? Like, do you think it's better? It's gotten better in Deep compared to Rogue?
Uh, It was initially better, but then like exploiters got too powerful, and that's gonna happen, man. Like, no matter what, there's always gonna be ways to get around the system. Even like Valorant's anti-cheat, there's still exploiters that pull up. But this is Roblox we're talking about, and Roblox is like hella exploitable. So it's kind of unfair to put all of it on the Deepwoken devs, as it's kind of Roblox's fault for the most part. The devs are trying to do all they can to stop exploiters, and it can be really annoying. Yeah, and with Rogue, I think Rogue was pretty terrible. Deepwoken is kind of also terrible right now because people are just flying around and they just don't care. Some experts just don't care anymore. But I don't know. Like, hopefully it can be improved with maybe some new anti-cheat. I don't know.
But speaking from personal experience, I've not seen as much exploiters lately in Deep.
Yeah, maybe they did something. I don't know.
I see.
Maybe that was something Roblox did.
Sure, could be. Now let's cool off and go with the classic. What do you think are the best enchants right now, and why?
Best enchant, I'd say like a good consistent enchant to use is like Vampirism. You usually just get free healing for your M1, so like you can't go wrong with that on any weapon. Then I would say like Umbral Knight on heavy is really good because I don't know, it's just Umbral Knight works based on like a time. It's like a time-based system, so like every 8 or 7 seconds, I don't know what it is. It like resets counter for Umbral Knight to be procced. And since heavy doesn't hit as much as something like light or medium, you're probably going to be getting your Umbral Knight effects a lot more in fights with a heavy weapon than a light weapon. And then I think for light, to be honest, light you can kind of go with anything. Maybe even like Deferred or Bloodthirsty. Actually, no, not Bloodthirsty. I'd say like Deferred maybe could go hard with it. Yunshul definitely goes hard with. Yeah, Yunshul is probably the best with light. And then medium, you kind of go anything with medium in my opinion. I don't think there's a really best for medium, but yeah, that's all I have to say about enchants.
So you'd say Umbral on heavy, but I thought Umbral got nerfed to like the point it's pretty bad.
No, it's actually really good. There's a reason why, like on multiplication builds, for example, people use Umbral Knight because it has like the highest damage multiplication whenever it procs. I think it might be more than Heroism when it lands.
It has 20%.
So maybe I think it's like 25. I don't know, 20 or 25.
One sec.
So it's just that it's annoying because you can't use it in PvE. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's actually 20% of the original amount damage.
Oh well, yeah, still technically the highest. Heroism only is 20% when you're full health or zero health.
I think the downside has actually been removed, where you have to grip someone every day.
Yes. Now the downside is you can't use it in PvE. The effect lands on you in PvE.
Oh, okay, I see. So you'd say Umbral Knight mainly for heavy weapon, no other enchant.
Oh, I mean, again, like Vampire has said before. I mean, there's also others you can do. Maybe for like a Flame Charm build, Blazing. Maybe for Frost, you can use Chilling. Chilling heavy used to be big, and now it's kind of just alright.
What about like Deferred?
I don't know. Deferred. I mean, yeah, Deferred can also be pretty good with it too.
Alright. We all know about the lore of Deepwoken and...
Maybe hard with it.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were done. We all know about the lore of Deepwoken and ironically how deep it goes, but do you think at some point will the devs actually have it so lore truly has some use in terms of like actually playing?
So like, what do you mean exactly?
So like if you
Like, give me an
knew
example.
if you knew about lore of such a monster, you'd know its like strong points or weak points, or if you knew the lore of a boss,
Oh, stuff like that, where like you can get hints from like learning the lore.
or you could get like special benefits.
I don't know. I'm not a dev, so I don't know if they're gonna add it or not. Maybe.
I see.
It'd be cool.
Has YouTube been treating you well in terms of like income with the Deepwoken videos?
Yeah, it's been treating me pretty well. I don't really get demonetized like that, even though I fucking swear in every video almost, or at least in every stream.
I see. Just this could be personal. Just let me know if you don't want to answer. I'll just cut it out. But you haven't gone to college yet, right?
I have not, no.
Are you technically using YouTube as a source of income for your college?
Oh, yeah, if I do go, yeah.
I see. Alright. Is there any inspiration behind your YouTube icon, the scroom-looking profile picture?
Yeah, there is. So I used to have like on my Discord before I became like a YouTuber. I used to have this like profile picture of basically the same thing, but it was like a human head. And the whole reason why I even added a profile picture in the first place, because back then I used to just not have a profile picture. And I was told whenever I joined this YouTuber's Discord called Seth the Programmer, I joined this Discord like years ago, and there was a requirement that you need to have a profile picture. So I literally just looked up profile picture and, you know, put that as my main thing, and I kept that for years until I became a YouTuber, and I asked an artist to draw my profile picture, but instead of a human head, it's a scroom head. And then the same thing happened with Deepwoken, where I asked for a Vesperian mask. And there you go.
Oh, I see. Will Deepwoken go back to the numbers it was doing early release when Layer 2 comes back, in your opinion?
Maybe like 20 to 25k. I say if you get like, if there's like a huge marketing campaign type shit for it, like you got Infernasu, Nanoprodigy, me, Super Punchy, Rom, Winter Clouds, Revolver Ags. I'm talking like everybody coming back. They're like, yo, Layer 2's amazing, you know, like everyone's pulling back up saying it's good and shit. You could possibly maybe even hit 30k again, but for now I'm making a safe bet of saying 20 to 25k, because I'd say on good days we've peaked recently at 10k. So I do think that when Layer 2 drops, it should very much bring back a lot of the old people who played, because they're probably definitely gonna be interested to see if Deepwoken's a better game than what it is right now. And then you might also potentially bring in new players when people like Infernasu, Nano, Slackhog, etc. drop videos on Layer 2. They'll be like, oh shoot, yo, that's cool as fuck, yo, that's scary, yo, that's crazy, you know, get new players interested. And by then, hopefully, Deepwoken will, I think if you were in the Deepwoken info server, you'd know this, but Archmage's talking about adding like a tutorial that makes it a lot easier for new players to ease in, because I think that's kind of a major issue for Layer 2. If there's a bunch of new players for Layer 2, they won't know shit, but they might also just like end up getting ganked and like they don't really know what's going on. Like when Power Cynical played, he had no fucking idea what to do. So
yeah,
hopefully that new tutorial that's gonna get added eases in a lot of the new players and actually keeps them playing. I think that's also something that's important.
Let's see, and I think that I think Arch said that after the Pyro stream, right? Interesting. Do you think actually, speaking of Pyro, has he contacted you again about playing?
Only once after. He was just saying like, yo, thanks for everything, bro, like appreciate all the help. I was like, yeah, let me know if you play again, no problem, man.
Let's see. Have you noticed that lately the weekly updates have been focused on like making it easier to acquire strong builds?
Making it easier to acquire what?
Strong builds.
Really? Like what, for example?
For example, the enchant guy, the enchant PC.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that also might just be like gearing towards making the game less tedious. Again, bro, I think it's all just like a good idea just to make all the annoying stuff that people consider like bruh before, just trying to get kind of rid of all that tediousness, like the needlessly tedious stuff, because again, it's like, yeah, trading was quote unquote ruined, but with stuff like enchants being easier to get, now you have like a lot of the casual players finally able to actually get towards that later end of the game instead of having to trade like fucking hours worth of stuff just to try and climb the ladder to get an enchant that they want. Always thought that was kind of stupid, and I always didn't really like that. So hopefully, and again, I don't really mind that people are having like an easier time to kind of get what they want, because I don't think Deepwoken it was hard to get what you wanted. It was just really tedious because you'd have to like keep remaking builds, like the exact same build to try and get the legendary that you wanted, or have to keep farming Prima Dawn or the depths to get that exact enchant you wanted. Like that was just stupid.
What do you think of the theories that this has been done to like get people prepared for layer 2?
Say that again. Theories.
Like this was done to get people prepared or the players prepared for layer 2 release?
Oh, I think that they just did it to make the game a lot easier in the meanwhile before layer 2 drops, instead of just outright removing luck, right? They're just making it really easy to get luck right now because they can't just remove luck without implementing all the different systems and whatnot, I assume, to make sure that it can be removed.
I see. I actually want to talk about bells for a second. Like, just overall, explain to the players about what do you think of bells and how were bells before like during release Deepwoken released.
How are they compared to on release? What do you mean?
Like bells back then to now, like how it's like so easy to get bells and how it's like widely known.
I don't know if it's a lot easier to get bell. Pretty sure it's almost the pretty much same. You just have the guy who tells you what you need to do to get your bell, and that's kind of it. If anything, like doing Duke, you could have always done Duke from the start to get your bell. So I don't know if they actually made it any easier.
But like I'm talking about how information like leaked among the player base. Like this NPC gives you this much bell XP.
I mean, yeah, that's bound to happen. It is what it is, That type of shit can't be mysterious forever.
What's your favorite bell out of all the bells? Corrupted or not corrupted?
Shard Bow probably is my favorite.
And why is that?
I don't know, I just like the amount of damage it does. Also because technically, I suggested it in a way. It was supposed to be a divine, it was just like a joke at first. It was kind of a joke, half not. A divine fucking bazooka / rocket launcher. And you would just literally go up in the air and shoot a divine rocket down for big damage, and it got turned to shard bow, dude. So shout out Dex for that one.
I see. What do you think of? I mean, actually, do you remember the OG Jar of Souls corrupted?
I do not.
The one-shot Jar of Souls build, pretty much.
What was it like?
Where you just shoot up, you press C and just kill someone instantly, pretty much do like 200 damage in one move. Well, that's fine. Let's move on. What about attunements? What's your favorite attunement?
Favorite attunement? It's a tough one. Probably lightning. I don't know. I think lightning's the easiest to play in high ping. Also feel cool using it.
So is it not for damage or agility?
I mean, it does good damage too and all that, but I don't know. I just like it the most. Can't really explain too much besides I just like it.
If you had to rank each attunement for its like special abilities.
Attunements?
Yeah, for example, like you would say, oh, I like ice because of its mainly because of its stun, like stuff like that. Like up and heavy gale breath.
I mean, yeah, heavy wind is cool too.
That actually was your OG build, wasn't it? The pale morning
yep.
gale breath.
Yeah, it was.
What do you think of oaths? Well, like what's your favorite oath out of all the oaths out right now?
Favorite oath? Probably Vision Shaper.
And why is
there's
that?
only two, so but Vision Shaper, I don't know, I just fuck with Vision Shaper the most. I like the idea of making clones and all that shit. Seems fun.
If you remember with me, when it came out, it was like such a popular thing. Like it almost became a meta. But now, like, a lot of people sleep on it. You rarely see it. What do you think of that?
Needs to be buffed, man. Give it the love it deserves. Thrifty charisma for it is like, bruh, like, I don't know, just too many investment points for something that's ultimately something you don't really need. It's like you're kind of fine without it type stuff, you know.
I see. But isn't when you say all the buffs it gives you and all the moves are like pretty good, like in terms of the counter and stuff, it could save you if you're like low.
Not really save you, I'd say. Again, if anything, lets your opponent know that you're low. So I don't know.
I see. Actually, something
I feel like
interesting
think
that kind of disappeared away from Deepwoken. I don't really see it much is alchemy. What do you think of that? Like potions, builds.
alchemy can be really busted, dude. You can make crazy
That
good
is, yeah,
potions.
that is
And if
true.
you have that one, whatchamacallit, what talent substance or whatever it's called, that shit makes your potions crazy. So good.
And the alchemy hats to buff the intake of potions as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I just really like all like the potions and shit.
Do you think they kind of like people kind of like stayed away from them because of the nerfs they received?
Yeah, probably. But again, they're still really powerful if you know what you're doing. It's just that a lot of people haven't really tapped into it because it just takes a lot of time. It can be kind of tedious to make potions.
That is true. What about fishing? How's that with you?
Fishing's cool. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about fishing because I don't really fish, but yeah, I don't really mind fishing like that. It has a lot of good drops. You can get adjust a card through fishing too. I think that's cool as hell.
Actually, a few interesting questions related to race here. Why do you think they completely moved away from the way races worked compared to the Rogue?
Because they didn't want, they wanted more balancing maybe. They didn't want to like builds or metas to be based around a system that requires Robux to actually engage in.
See, that's true. Do you think that we will get new races with Layer 2?
Yeah, it's been confirmed by Arc.
How much races is it? Like, is it 2 new races or?
No comment.
Oh, see, fair enough. Okay. Do you have anything you want to add? Honestly, I think I'm pretty much like done here.
For the most part, I hope everyone's ready for some goddamn layer 2, because I know I am. I'm bored as hell. That's pretty much it.
Alright, you heard it from Agamatsu. Thank you for tuning in to the interview. Maybe next time, maybe with another YouTuber, we'll have another interview. Thank you, Agamatsu, for coming on the show. Even though it's like the first episode, you didn't even like really know me, so thank you for that. Actually,
No problem.
see you guys next time, hopefully.